reading diverse next to it, the public can learn about the past and the present, as well as the type of the book story by Lu Xun and his work. From creative perspective, technology advancements has transformed cultural tourism into something more than just cultural tourism. It should be encompass cultural tourism with health and wellness, interregional cultural heritage and education, maybe or the lifestyle. Every city has its unique charm and story, allowing us who reside in them and to expand a different kind of beauty. You must be serious about why I didn't use the example of Shanghai. Shanghai 1+8 metropolitan airplane, akin to the Yangtze River Delta integration strategy, is designed as a national strategy. Creative and smart cities provides not only their development, but also comprehensive benefits they bring to society, economy, and culture. By highlighting and significant and creative, fostering international cooperation and exchange, the translation of the economic and resource intervention to a knowledge-driven model. These cities serve as a circle avenue for achieving inclusive and sustainable development. This shift is further propelled by the promotion of the creative and the innovation, leading to the establishment of a global creative economy and the discussion of the creative industry community. At last, there is some truly uplifting news to share. Shanghai Creative Industry Association is to organize the Shanghai International Digital Creative Expo, making another significant event in Shanghai following the CIIE. It is challenged to articulate and clarify the interests of creative and smart city within the limited time frame of just a few dozen minutes. Therefore, I hereby suggest and sincerely invite you all to visit Shanghai next year and attend the International Digital Creative Expo when you can personally immerse yourself in the dignity and the intelligent magic of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Teo. We are pleased to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, we need time to prepare, to prepare the stage for the panel session. That's why I keep staying here. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, biz sahnani tayyorlashimiz uchun 5 daqiqa vaqt kerak bo'ladi. O'z joylaringizda qolishingizni so'raymiz. Dear participants, we need time to prepare the stage. It's about 5 minutes. Panel diskussiyamizni boshlaymiz. Panel discussion, the soundtrack of innovation. Panel discussion. Big creative ideas. Who's changing the game in Central Asia? Moderator Nazgul Kubakayeva, Executive Director of the Kyrgyzstan Creative Industries Association. Panelists Irina Kharitonova, founder of the Innovative Creative Institute. Vadim Pavlov, Product Director at Golden House. Sherali Jurabayev, Managing Director. Madina Kasımbayeva, Suzani Master, founder of Suzani by Kasımbayeva.
Ассаламу алейкум, хайрлы таң, кутман күнүңүздөр менен. Добро пожаловать на нашу панельную сессию, которая носит название «Большие идеи» или «Что может изменить Центральную Азию». Я очень рада приветствовать сегодня всех панелистов, участников этой сессии, и очень благодарна аудитории, которые в столь ранний час сегодня в пятницу пришли и уделяете свое время и внимание этой теме. Эта тема на самом деле очень актуальная. В 2019 году Британский совет проводил в Ташкенте большую конференцию «Креативная Центральная Азия», и сегодня Ташкент принимает всемирную конференцию по креативной экономике. Это замечательно. Поздравляю Ташкент и весь регион с этим событием. А сейчас позвольте мне представить наших спикеров нашей сессии. Шерали Джурабаев представляет солнечный Таджикистан, является директором региональной компании SkyCA. CA это означает Central Asia, то есть это уже такая заявка, что мы должны взлететь в небо и в космос и развиваться дальше. Также Ирина Харитонова. Ирина, она очень всесторонне развитый эксперт в креативных индустриях. В настоящее время является автором программы part-1 5D, на английском, я думаю, и является также соучредителем общественного фонда по инновационной креативной индустрии. И также Вадим Павлов, большой опытный девелопер, сейчас является директором по продукту и архитектуре большой компании Golden House, в настоящее время руководя 33 проектами здесь, именно в городе Ташкент. Поэтому я думаю, что будет очень разносторонняя дискуссия. Мадину объявили, но мы ее сейчас ждем, она еще в пути. Тогда позвольте начать нашу дискуссию. Шерали, я хочу вам предоставить слово. Вот вы уже много лет работаете в этой сфере, являетесь экспертом по маркетингу. Я с вашей биографии также узнала, что вы преподаете в академической сфере, хорошо помогаете стартаперам, что очень является важной частью этой креативной экономики. Поэтому слово вам, пожалуйста.
Спасибо большое. Презентацию вывели?
Можно будет презентацию. And dear guests who do not understand Russian, please use your headphones. And I thank our interpreters for this assistance and to make this session accessible for the whole audience.
Назгуль, спасибо большое за представление. Я очень рад быть в Ташкенте. Я очень рад, что ивент по креативной экономике пришел в наш регион. Давайте поаплодируем тем, кто решил, что нам здесь это нужно. Смелее, смелее, ребят. Спасибо большое. Я понимаю, первый спикер вас очень вдохновил, поэтому вы думаете, стоит аплодировать или нет, но я думаю, стоит. Как маркетолог и креативщик я не удержался от такого кликбейта. Почему я считаю, что креативная экономика спасет Центральную Азию? Давайте быстренько пробежимся, почему я считаю, что креативная экономика для нас, для всех, может быть выходом. Ну, во-первых, регион, 5 стран. Что нас отличает? Большое население. Почти 80 миллионов проживают в регионе, и это прям очень много. Второй важный момент. Когда население быстро растет, у нас появляется огромное количество молодых. 30% населения в регионе в возрасте до 14 лет. Я не знаю, как вы на это смотрите. Я как маркетолог, экономист, понимаю, что эти цифры означают, что в ближайшие годы ежегодно на рынке рабочей силы будет появляться миллионы новых молодых людей. Миллионы молодых людей будут пытаться найти для себя возможность заработать. Да, я согласен, экономика растет, средний темп роста по странам приблизительно 7%, и это здорово. Однако большая часть этого роста приходится на инфраструктурные проекты государства. Это не очень хорошая основа для того, чтобы создавать рабочие места. В Таджикистане ситуация еще хуже. Если вы посмотрите, у нас 43,3% населения в возрасте до 20 лет. И исходя из этого возникает очень простой вопрос. Как нам создать рабочие места? Этот форум отвечает на этот вопрос. Креативная экономика позволит нам создать рабочие места в тех сферах, где, по сути, давайте по-другому. Самая главная статья экспорта Центральной Азии – люди. Мы делаем их в больших количествах, и они уезжают в другие страны, зарабатывают деньги, возвращают нам их сюда. Я считаю, что это не очень экономически целесообразно. Нам лучше вместо того, чтобы отправлять не очень квалифицированную рабочую силу за границу, отправлять туда продукты интеллектуального труда. Креативная экономика как раз и говорит нам о том, что, коллеги, вы можете придумать что-то, вы можете создать свой продукт. Это может быть песня, это может быть какой-то другой авторский продукт, который может быть потреблен за границей. Кстати, наши коллеги из Кыргызстана могут подтвердить. Проект, который на Ютубе работает, вот он, да.
Debilians, да, называется?
Да. Во-первых, он огромные деньги приносит. Во-вторых, для реноме страны это прям классно, когда такие проекты появляются. Поэтому креативная экономика создаст рабочие места. Но возникает второй вопрос. У нас нет возможности раскачиваться и ждать, когда это произойдет. Поэтому нам нужно создавать это быстро. И тут нам, конечно, важно понимать, что у нас есть инструмент, о котором мы все говорим. Если мы хотим сделать что-то быстро, нам нужно запускать это по методу стартапа. Почему по методу стартапа? Дело в том, что стартапы – это то, что очень быстро растет. Почему не приходится разворачиваться? Хотя бы экран поставили здесь. Это конкретный пример. Stripe за 10 лет от 0 до 95 миллиардов стоимости компании. Это стартап. Чтобы вы понимали, почему я настаиваю на том, что стартапы – это правильный путь развития проектов, в том числе в индустрии креативных экономик, посмотрите, это не восход Юпитера на фоне Солнца, это оборот Страйпа в 2023 году против ВВП Таджикистана. Да, я на всякий случай немножко увеличил масштаб, чтобы вы понимали, как все это выглядит. Вы же понимаете, там круг должен был быть, да, его нету. Коллеги, если вы думаете о том, что да, креативная экономика поможет нам обеспечить рабочие места, вы на правильном пути. Прикрутите к этому экосистему, которая позволит ребятам, которые заходят в эту экономику, вообще не только ребятам, всем, кто заходит в эту экономику, иметь возможность запускать продукты по методу стартапа. Потому что именно там у нас есть возможность срастить бизнес и таланты. Спасибо.
Спасибо большое, Шерали, за ваши вдохновляющие месседжи, инсайты. И как человек практикующий, у меня сразу к вам вопрос. Вы столько лет уже работаете непосредственно с самими креаторами, которые создают интересные продукты. Это нужно иметь смелость такую, да, чтобы зайти на этот путь. И хоть и не делается этот круг, о котором вы упомянули в своей презентации, но все равно надежда же есть. Они вновь и вновь предпринимают эти попытки. Как, на ваш взгляд, существуют ли лучшие практики уже в мире в стартап-экосистеме, которые мы могли бы как Центральноазиатский регион применить и, усиливая друг друга, реализовать это уже на региональном уровне?
Абсолютно. Во-первых, я считаю, что в нашем регионе потенциал гораздо больше. Вы посмотрите в зале, сколько молодых ребят сидят. Поаплодируйте, если вы считаете себя креативными. Я думал, это будет громче, ребят. Они будущее наших экономик. Они будут создавать то, чем мы завтра будем гордиться. Лучшие практики с точки зрения стартапов, любая практика, которая поможет стартапам развиваться, приемлема. В Узбекистане, в принципе, многое делается на уровне государства для того, чтобы в этой системе появились деньги в первую очередь. Но инфраструктура тоже важна. Мне кажется, здесь просто нужно, наверное, снимать барьеры между странами. Мы сегодня это обсуждали. на секунду задумайтесь, Центральноазиатский регион, чем мы хуже, чем Европейский Союз? Если между границами будет меньше барьеров, если унифицировано будет законодательство, хотя бы в сфере стартапов и новых экономик, я думаю, мы большой рывок создадим вперед. Поэтому нужно смотреть по сторонам, брать лучшее и пытаться применить это здесь.
Да, и пользуясь случаем, я бы хотела здесь упомянуть решение, которое мы в Кыргызстане сейчас внедрили для стартапов. Это парк креативных индустрий, это специальный налоговый режим. И согласно закону, как раз-таки иностранные подданные тоже могут пользоваться этим режимом. Возможно, это один из методов, да? И мы будем рады, больше чем счастливы, да, за то, чтобы это распространялось, как лучшая практика тоже.
Скажите со сцены, как можно найти и попасть, как стать резидентом этого проекта?
Просто нужно набрать строчку в интернете cip.kg. Это сайт парка креативных индустрий.
Аплодисменты, ребят, давайте попробуем это сделать.
Спасибо. Ширали, спасибо вам
Спасибо
большое.
вам большое.
Следующий спикер, прекрасная Ирина Харитонова. Я Ирину знаю уже где-то 3 года, да, и Ирина, она всегда при каждой нашей встрече, всегда в разных ипостасях, но это всегда вокруг креативных индустрий, что радует. Поэтому, Ирина, поделитесь, чем вы сейчас заняты, какие идеи вот сейчас живут в вашей реальности.
Спасибо большое. Good day. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you that you invite me here. And I will be speak Russia, but I hope that the friends who I invite yesterday you can understand and you have translate. Всем добрый день. Очень рада быть сегодня здесь. Можно будет вывести, пожалуйста, мою презентацию. Это не моя презентация. Я бы хотела сегодня говорить о том, что мы как регион, мы Центральная Азия и мы креативная Центральная Азия. У нас там решается вопрос с презентацией?
Можно, пожалуйста, презентацию Ирины Харитоновой? Она в папке так и называется. Ну,
Окей.
пока
Да,
запускается,
пока
можно
запускается,
начинать.
просто здесь был такой важный визуальный эффект. Первый слайд начинался с фотографии, где вы можете увидеть, сможете увидеть белую лошадь на фоне коричневых лошадей. Это фотография прекрасного фотографа из Великобритании. В этом году мы презентовали большой проект в Казахстане, где объединили фотографов из Центральной Азии и из UK. И это как раз был посыл и месседж о том, что как важно быть креативным, важно быть не таким, как все, не бояться. И мы в Центральной Азии всегда создаем что-то уникальное, что-то не похожее на одно на другое. И наш национальный код, наша ДНК вдохновляет очень многих и фэшн-дизайнеров, и дизайнеров-архитекторов, потому что мы очень самобытные. И когда мы вместе, как регион, это дает большой импакт и дает больше возможности быть замеченными на вот этой международной платформе, международной арене. Конечно, хотелось бы, чтобы сегодня здесь было как можно больше тех спикеров, которые заявлены в программе, чтобы они тоже увидели и услышали о нашем потенциале. Решается, да, у нас вопрос с презентацией? Я более 10 лет работаю в креативных индустриях, и сегодня мой фокус внимания направлен на подрастающее поколение. Мы запустили проект, который называется «Развитие креативного мышления. Платон 5D». Чем уникален этот проект? Мы работаем со школьниками, и самый младший возраст наших креаторов – это 10 лет. Мы задались вопросом, реально ли это, возможно ли это, и в процессе работы поняли, что это действительно возможно, это работает. Мы видим потенциал, и мы хотим помогать этому потенциалу развиваться. Уникальность программы еще в том, что мы объединили креатив и ESG. Похлопайте, пожалуйста, те, кто знает, что такое ESG. Окей, супер. Когда мы говорим про устойчивое развитие, мы должны понимать, что мы вообще верим, вся моя команда нашего фонда верит в то, что креативность – это ключ к тому, чтобы находить как раз-таки те самые решения для социально важно значимых задач. И кто они, будущие креаторы? Как правильно отметил Ширали, мы говорим про стартапы. Вот здесь сидящие студенты – это завтра те, кто будут создавать здесь и развивать не только креативную, а в целом экономику страны. И важно, какой импакт, и важно, что именно мы заложим в головы этих молодых людей. Один из кейсов, который я хотела тоже показать на экране, это кейс одного креатора, ему 10 лет, его зовут Нечаев Платон, это мой сын. И он начал этот проект в прошлом году. Задача была показать, кто такие национальные герои. Наши современные дети и во многих других странах Центральной Азии знают всех героев Марвела, да, но кто наши герои, про что мы, кто мы как страна, что является нашим ДНК и кто наши герои. И мы поставили эту задачу перед нашими детьми. Что мы увидели? Мы увидели, как дети рассказывали нам о батырах, о ханах, о разных интересных персонажах. И вот мой сын, он создал персонажа Апака Байжанова. Апак Байжанов – это мальчик, который когда-то нашел уголь в казахской степи. У нас в Караганде есть памятник этому Апаку Байжанову. И он создал супер. Я тогда пролистну, но вот, собственно, это то фото, о котором я говорила, как вы видите, да, не бойся быть собой, не бойся быть другим. Здесь небольшая информация обо мне. Кому интересно, можете подружиться со мной в социальных сетях. Я немножечко инфлюенсер в сфере креативных индустриях. Вот, собственно, этот проект «Платон 5D». Вот вы можете видеть здесь наших детей, которые реально делают очень крутые проекты на выходе. И, собственно, вот это мой сын, это его книжки. И, как вы видите, это наши герои, это наша ДНК. Он создал одна из его книг про наших олимпийских, паралимпийских чемпионов, но он их интерпретирует через призму наших национальных животных. Вот. И эта книга в этом году попала даже в Париж. Собственно, о нашей компании мы реализуем очень много проектов, как локальных, так и международных. Основной фокус у нас, конечно, на образовании, потому что, как я говорила, мы верим, что это действительно то, что может менять. И в этом году мы уже реализовали, и вот в прошлом году, и международные проекты, и локальные. И когда мы говорим о том, что как поддерживать, как развивать регион, очень важно, чтобы мы дружили и с государством, и с бизнесом. В этом году мы реализовали ряд проектов с Абу-Даби Плаза. Это большой многофункциональный комплекс, который показывает как раз пример другим социально ответственным бизнесам, как можно развивать именно креативные индустрии. Но вот про это как бы отдельная нужна, да, сессия. С государством мы тоже дружим, развиваем разные проекты, но здесь важно такой point вам: не ждите, как бы, когда к вам придут. Пробуйте сами, делайте, ищите через грантовые поддержки, через коллаборации. Вот как раз-таки, когда мы объединяем усилия как регион, мы можем достичь большего. И говоря про коллаборации, хотела бы сказать о новом проекте, над которым мы сейчас работаем. Это Альянс женщин-креаторов Великого Шелкового пути. Давайте поаплодируем, потому что я очень верю в силу женского предпринимательства, в силу женского комьюнити. И мы действительно очень уникальны. У нас очень уникальные дизайнеры, у нас очень уникальные техники наши, которые можно и нужно сохранять и передавать, и показывать, и транслировать всему миру. И здесь вы видите 3 ивента. Я понимаю, что мы ограничены во времени. Если вам интересно, после сессии, после дискуссии можете подойти ко мне. Мы обязательно вам расскажем более подробно про каждый из этих ивентов. Также я хотела бы пригласить всех вас на наш прекрасный стенд. Здесь в рамках данной конференции Казахстан организовал стенд, где можно попробовать, почувствовать и повзаимодействовать, покреативить вместе с нами. Он находится в зеленой зоне, где Creative Village. Мы там можем с вами более подробно пообщаться, и мы будем рады для дальнейших коллабораций. Поэтому я очень надеюсь, что мы действительно можем создавать что-то очень значимое и важное. И повторюсь, что сегодня мы видим, что ключ к успеху и развитию нашего региона – это образование. Это образование в школах, это образование в университетах, это образование среди нашего государственного сектора, потому что на местах мы тоже видим, что нужно работать с теми людьми, которые отвечают, да, за развитие креативных индустрий. Спасибо большое. Еще раз повторюсь, что я очень рада присутствовать здесь, такому событию. Хочу выразить благодарность всем международным спикерам, потому что они супер open, and thank you that you here, and we really believe that we, like one region, can do everything. Thank you.
Спасибо большое, Ирина. Конференция носит такое название, как «Изменившаяся реальность, инклюзивная креативность». И, Ирина, я знаю, что вы еще работали в государственном секторе и являетесь также ярким представителем самих креативных индустрий. Вот будучи и с той стороны баррикады, и с этой стороны, да, вы знаете кухню обеих сторон. Как, на ваш взгляд, лучше всего нам нужно сделать эту инклюзию? Потому что мы говорим про общественные и государственные политики, если мы хотим видеть реальную креативную экономику. Вот, пожалуйста, ваша точка зрения.
Да, работая в прошлом году, я была директором департамента креативных индустрий, креативного туризма с компанией «Казахтуризм» при Министерстве культуры и спорта. И всю жизнь я работала в бизнесе, пришла в госсектор, и это, конечно, абсолютно разные плоскости, да, это абсолютно разные миры. Не потому что где-то плохо, где-то хорошо, и кто-то там хороший, а кто-то плохой, понимает, не понимает, но суть в том, что без вот этой вот коммуникации и коллаборации невозможно что-то изменить. У государственных структур, ну вот у них такой, да, склад ума, у них есть определенные законы, рамки, например, вот чтобы в Казахстане 30 декабря 2022 года мы приняли в законе о культуре понятие креативных индустрий. Но это стоило неимоверных усилий, потом еще целые полгода дальше мы классификатор вводили экономической деятельности. И без участия самих креаторов невозможно было бы как раз вот это выстроить. Здесь очень важно, чтобы друг друга слушали,
Отлично.
слышали и
Да.
ну, как бы взаимодействовали. Я всегда говорю, что я обожаю коллаборации. Вот я мастер коллаборации, поэтому
Классно.
я всегда за то, чтобы мы действительно работали вот together.
Такие люди, как вы, нужны этой экосистеме. Спасибо большое.
Спасибо.
Сейчас я приглашаю на сцену прекрасную Мадину Касимбаеву. Мадина является суперважной частью креативной экономики и креативных индустрий, потому что она возрождать национальную вышивку сюзанне. Мадина, мы чуть позже к вам вернемся, пока, пожалуйста, воду попейте. А сейчас я хочу дать слово Вадиму Павлову. Вадим, как я ранее представила, он является директором по продукту и архитектуре Golden House. И Вадим вовлечен в множество проектов. У вас уже 13 лет опыта именно в девелопменте, поэтому мы тоже заинтересованы узнать о ваших проектах и вашем взгляде, как это можно изменить саму экосистему и улучшить. Пожалуйста. Можно будет презентацию Вадима тоже выпустить?
Да, добрый день. Меня хорошо слышно, да? Да, добрый день. Прежде чем начать, я бы хотел поаплодировать организаторам Фонду культуры. Это люди, которые помогли этой конференции осуществиться, стоически вывозят все вот мероприятия, которые сейчас происходят. Я считаю, что это один из важнейших форумов, которые проходят в этом году, поэтому, коллеги, большое вам спасибо. Давайте поаплодируем. Сейчас я немножко внесу такую хардвейерную часть, потому что мы, как один из главных девелоперов Ташкента, строим среду для того, чтобы креативные экономики, креативные индустрии могли в ней существовать. Можно следующий слайд, пожалуйста, потому что кликер почему-то не реагирует. Да, еще раз, меня зовут Вадим, я 13 лет разрабатываю продукт именно в девелопменте. Это достаточно новая профессия, которая отвечает вызовам современного рынка и современного мира, когда люди являются, непосредственно продуктологи, являются мостиком между потребителем, между креативным кластером, творческими лидерами, просто жителями или людьми, которые ведут бизнес, и архитекторами, и инвесторами. Да? То есть наша задача выявлять потребности горожан, выявлять потребности бизнеса, креативной среды и удовлетворять, создавая максимально комфортную и значимую среду в городе. То есть менять город к лучшему, и жизнь горожан тоже изменять к лучшему, да? И помогать, в принципе, городу развиваться в правильном направлении. Сейчас Узбекистан имеет прекрасную возможность воспользоваться best practice, приглашает много международных архитектурных бюро и бюро по мастер-планированию, то есть вооружаясь теми практиками, которые были сформированы уже десятилетиями, а может быть даже где-то, если мы берем урбанистику, столетиями. Я убежден, что Узбекистан – это важнейший игрок в Центральной Азии. Мало кто знает о том, что в Узбекистане есть огромный потенциал именно с точки зрения ресурсов природных. 4-й по запасу золота в мире, 8-й по запасу урана в мире. Это сейчас очень востребованные редкоземы. И это фактически является экономическим фундаментом для бурного экономического и креативного роста в том числе. Плюс население, прирост один из самых значительных в Центральной Азии. Это 1,5% год к году. Экономика тоже бурно развивается, это где-то 5,1% ВВП год к году. И численность населения при территории в 2 раза меньше, чем в Казахстане, при этом численность населения в 4 раза больше. Да? То есть это бурно развивающаяся страна, которая заявляет о себе и заявляет очень хорошо и в правильном направлении, развивая в том числе креативную среду. Что мы делаем для того, чтобы поддержать непосредственно креативную экономику и улучшить наш любимый Ташкент? Я бы хотел сейчас рассказать про один из наших больших проектов. Это «Город в городе», реализуемый в концепции 15-минутного города, как это сейчас модно делать в Европе и на Западе. То есть когда все потребности горожан, бизнеса, креативной среды удовлетворяются внутри самого кластера. Это текстильная фабрика, которая находится практически в центре города. Сейчас она пребывает в таком достаточно депрессивном состоянии, о чем, собственно, можно видеть на слайдах. Да? То есть это запущение, это собаки, это мусор и грязь. И мы, соответственно, берем эту территорию и превращаем ее в современное урбанистическое пространство. Мы сохраняем и приспособляем частично текстильные цеха, где создаем музей и креативный кластер. То есть наш девиз – с уважением к прошлому строить будущее. Здесь помимо непосредственно резиденции, то есть жилья, можно увидеть креативный кластер, который, как я и сказал уже, это цеха, над которыми мы надстраиваем современные объемы, такой, вы знаете, бублик. Можно увидеть порядка 4 школ, университет, кампус, перинатальный центр, огромный централ-парк, где-то примерно 6,5 гектар. Мы реновируем набережную, создаем там комфортную среду с переменной этажностью и задумываемся о том, в первую очередь, как выявить потребности горожан и максимально их удовлетворить. То есть мы создаем и усиляем зеленый каркас Ташкента, высаживаем порядка 1500 новых деревьев, сохраняя те, которые там существуют.
Вадим, можно вас попросить чуть ближе микрофон держать?
Плохо слышно, да? Раз.
Да,
Так
теперь лучше. Спасибо.
Вот, соответственно, это рендеры того, как это будет в перспективе. Это вид на центральный парк. Этот проект мы делаем с топовым мастер-планерс-бюро KCP. Это голландцы, они делали мастер-план города Эйндховен. Вот, и здесь мы стараемся, как я уже и говорил, применить best practice для того, чтобы сделать жизнь ташкентцев и, собственно, креативные части лучше и прогрессивнее, потому что помимо того, что важно простраивать софтвер, нужно, чтобы еще хардвер, то есть непосредственно среда, в которой существуют бизнесы, была тоже под стать запросу. Вот здесь можно видеть набережную, которую мы тоже реновируем. Мы создаем множество точек спорта, развития, медиацентров. Мы планируем, что Централ Парк станет местом проведения международных музыкальных фестивалей, кинофестивалей. Мы создаем места, где можно проводить концерты, потому что в городе концертных больших, по-настоящему хороших площадок мало. Вот, и мы планируем, что этот город, микрогород в городе, будет интегрирован в культурную жизнь столицы. Также мы рассматриваем эту территорию как бизнес-хаб, создавая сити с пешеходными бульварами. И, на мой взгляд, Ташкент в ближайшие года может стать одним из бизнес-хабов в Центральной Азии, потому что благоприятный климат, аэропорт находится в черте города, и это такой, знаете, фаст-трек. К сожалению, вот, а здесь можно как раз увидеть наш креативный кластер. Он будет составлять порядка 50 тысяч квадратных метров. где мы, как я и говорил, уже сохраняем цеха, делаем музей текстиля, воркшопы, коворкинги и надстраиваем современный объем. В целом, наверное, все. Сейчас development в целом должен становиться более человекоцентричным и должен знать своего клиента, да, и по-другому development будет неконкурентным. Поэтому мы открыты к диалогу, и когда Фонд культуры обратился к нам и предложил поучаствовать, мы с радостью согласились, потому что мы патриоты Узбекистана и очень любим Ташкент, и всегда открыты к сотрудничеству.
Спасибо, радует, что вы делаете все свои проекты с любовью. И если посмотреть на картинки, которые пока в проекте, когда это все будет реализовано? Вот годы реализации можете упомянуть?
Это большой проект. Я думаю, что горизонт 10-15 лет.
То есть через 10-15 лет мы приедем в Ташкент и все это будем лицезреть, да? И
Я
всем
очень
этим
на это
пользоваться.
надеюсь и приложу все усилия для того, чтобы это было.
Да.
Ну и, соответственно, мы просим и вашей помощи для того, чтобы насытить и помочь ожить этому городу в городе.
Вот, Вадим, если ваше агентство большое, да, вот в вашу компанию придут активисты из Ташкента, неравнодушные граждане, группы, да, креаторов тоже, и скажут, допустим, та же Мадина, да, к вам подойдет и скажет, вот у меня есть инициативы, идеи, давайте мы это воплотим в одном из ваших 33 проектов. Насколько это реализуемо? Насколько вы гибки?
Это абсолютно реализуемо. Я даже больше скажу, что мы часто, наоборот, сами приходим. Мы открыты, и мы стараемся поддержать креативную среду и вообще апологетов действия. Да? Мы всегда открыто общаемся с нашей потенциальной аудиторией, проводим исследования, как я уже говорил. Прежде чем начать разрабатывать с архитекторами какой-то новый проект, мы сначала проводим глубинные исследования, проводим интервью с потенциальной аудиторией, в том числе с креативным сообществом, для того, чтобы понять, как лучше сделать. Сейчас недостаточно просто построить какие-то коробки, ритейл или торговые центры. Сейчас нужно заранее простроить roadmap, как это будет жить дальше. Иначе мы будем возводить новые гетто, да, поэтому очень важно именно говорить с такими людьми, с творческими лидерами, лидерами мнений.
Я надеюсь, что уже сейчас на сцене у нас родился один коллаборационный проект внутри Ташкента. Это между Golden House и Сюзене Байкасымбаева. Да? Можно поаплодировать этому, мы будем зреть и смотреть. Да, да, Ирина, пожалуйста.
Хотела сказать, что вот про коллаборации, да, и так как начали говорить про застройку, прошу прощения, прям буквально минуту украду. Вот у нас уже тоже произошла, пока мы застраивали наш павильон, мы познакомились с компанией, которая здесь вот это все застраивает. И зеленые кубики, которые вы там видите, часть этих кубиков поедет в Казахстан для детских площадок Казахстана, часть останется здесь, и мы в рамках программы Платон 5D будем делать арт-резиденцию для детей. То есть это, опять же, про устойчивое развитие, что это не утилизируется потом, а совместными усилиями мы дальше этому дадим вторую жизнь. Я думаю, что этому тоже стоит поаплодировать. Это очень круто, когда вот именно такие площадки дают возможность создавать коллаборации. Возможно, с вами тоже потом поработаем.
Да, хорошо. У нас тема такая амбициозная, это большие идеи. А мы как раз-таки говорим о маленьких шагах, которые могут привести в реализацию эти большие идеи. Да? Да, это нужно надстраивать и практиковать. Спасибо, что поделились, Ирина. Мадина, я хочу сейчас слово вам предоставить. Пожалуйста, расскажите про свой проект и свою идею. Вы вот реализуете и сохраняете традиционную вышивку. Пожалуйста, раскройтесь и расскажите о себе немного аудитории. А пользуясь случаем, я хочу обратиться к нашей аудитории. Пожалуйста, мы можем принять один вопрос из зала. Я вижу уже протянутую руку. Хорошо. Мадина, пока вам слово. Пожалуйста.
Здравствуйте всем. Мне очень приятно, что я здесь сейчас участвую на этом форуме. Также тоже хотела поблагодарить Фонд развития культуры и наше государство за эту устроенную конференцию. Я Мадина Касымбаева, мастер по ручной вышивке Сюзанны. Занимаюсь этим уже 24 года. Начиналось это все с детства, это было хобби, я могу сказать. С детства я очень увлекалась рисовать, вышивать. И это мое было хобби, но с годами, то есть я поступила в лицей прикладного искусства, и также там училась разными видами вышивки Узбекистана, можно сказать. После школы поступила в художественный колледж Бенкова и параллельно как бы начала уже вышивать. То есть я тогда, можно сказать, в эти годы в Ташкенте даже можно сказать, что сюзаны никто и не вышивал, даже когда у меня спрашивали, чем я занимаюсь. Я когда говорила сюзаны, и даже все расспрашивали, а что это, зачем это, да? И вот началось все с того, что я начала собирать девушек вокруг, обучать этому ремеслу. То, что сейчас это называется усташогард, методика усташогард, у меня вот это началось в 2000-е годы, 2001 года. И я начала как бы девочек обучать этому. Сначала то, что это наша махаля, а постепенно это уже как бы возросло в школу большую. И первые годы, когда мы только начинали вышивать, мы в то время делали только сюзаны и наволочки. Это то, что вышивали наши прабабушки, бабушки. И можно сказать, это у нас хорошо шло, продавалось. Но знаете, постепенно появилась у меня уже большая школа, мастерская.
Сколько сейчас в вашей школе учениц или вот мастериц?
Ну, за 24 года я могу сказать, что я обучила уже ближе к 1000 девушек. Я это могу спокойно сказать, не только в Ташкенте, и по всему Узбекистану. То есть мы ездим, я ездю каждый год, можно сказать, 2 раза по регионам Узбекистана. Мы бывали в Маргелане, в Сурхандарье, в Кашкадарье, в Коканде еще, Ферганская долина. То есть даже у нас в Нукусе есть девушки, которые на сегодняшний день работают вместе с нами. И как бы постепенно хобби превратилось, можно сказать, в бизнес.
Классно.
Да.
Ну, это вот замечательный пример и характеристика креативных индустрий в том, что это не капиталоемкое начало, да, то есть не нужно строить заводы и тратить большие ресурсы. Можно начать просто с того, что, во-первых, определить, что ты любишь, а потом это уже начать воплощать и потом уже искать и призывать свое окружение к этой коллаборации и сотрудничеству. Да? Успехов вам, Мадина. Спасибо большое, что вы сегодня здесь.
Спасибо.
И вопрос из зала, если возможно, пожалуйста, один общий вопрос на всех спикеров. Я видела протянутую руку. Вот девушка, вы, да, по-моему, в бордовом костюме? Можно будет вас попросить? Это Зумрат, British Council, Узбекистан. Можно поаплодировать.
Назгуль, спасибо большое за сессию. Вы прекрасный модератор. Очень было приятно слышать Шарали, Ирину, Вадима, Мадину. У меня, к сожалению, не общий вопрос, а нацеленный на Вадима. У меня 2 вопроса. Первый – это где территориально расположен вот этот комплекс, о котором вы говорили. И второй – какие методологии используются для выявления нужд комьюнити, проживающих вокруг этой территории и в целом жителей Ташкента? Спасибо.
Благодарю за вопрос. По поводу точной локации не могу сказать, потому что это инсайт. Вот, но я думаю, что жители Ташкента узнали эту локацию. Она находится внутри Малого кольца, то есть буквально в 7 минутах от аэропорта центрального Ислама Каримова. А по поводу методологий, как я и говорил, мы занимаемся продуктовыми исследованиями, то есть мы формируем фокус-группы различных представителей, да, то есть мы общаемся и с креативной средой, мы общаемся с жителями, мы общаемся с потенциальными потребителями объектов недвижимости, общаемся с бизнесом, проводим с ними глубинные продуктовые интервью, где показываем им различные современные модели девелопмента и слушаем о том, как они это видят, слушаем обратную связь, и на основании этого делаем аналитику. То есть прежде чем, как я говорил, уже заложить какие-то параметры проекта, мы сначала формируем KYC, то есть Know Your Client. Вот. Мы пытаемся узнать о том, не что нужно нам, да, как нам лучше заработать, а мы задумаемся над тем, что нужно городу, что нужно сообществам. Потому что сейчас, как я и говорил, на высококонкурентном рынке потребитель голосует кошельком. И если проект не живой, если он не удовлетворяет прямые или скрытые потребности, то будущий потребитель просто не будет жить там, не будет пользоваться услугами, не купит квартиру, не снимет офис или creative space. Поэтому очень важно делать упор на аналитику и работать с аудиториями, с сообществами, в том числе с МОКом, апологетом креативных индустрий, такими как продакшн-компании, абстракт, работать с фондами и так далее, и так далее.
Спасибо.
Да, спасибо большое. Итак, мы говорили, что один вопрос, и у нас уже по времени, оказывается, мы вышли за рамки. Я хочу немного резюмировать вот нашу небольшую такую уютную беседу. Мне было очень приятно слышать такие слова, как «нам не нужны границы, нам нужно строить мосты». И, возможно, это может быть идеей визы цифрового кочевника или креативного кочевника, да? Чтобы наши мастера, как Мадина и другие представители креативных индустрий, могли не стоять на таможенных досмотрах, а просто свободно передвигаться и пользоваться теми благами, которые вот сейчас уже в разных центральноазиатских странах существуют. Как я назвала, это парк креативных индустрий. И если мы будем развивать эту тему и повестку в каждой своей стране по визе цифрового кочевника, креативного кочевника, это может стать реальностью. Второй вопрос, что мне понравилось вот в выступлении Ирины, вы упомянули про образование и таланты, инновации. То есть здесь тоже вопрос того, что насколько каждый креатор может еще идти и в другую сферу и делиться своими знаниями или учиться новому. Потому что сейчас грамотный человек 21 века – это тот, который может забыть тому, чему он обучался ранее, и обучиться чему-то новому. И вот Мадина – яркий пример у нас на панельной дискуссии, которая начала со своего любимого дела детства и теперь уже вот возглавляет целую школу, да, и развивает. И в ключе этого вопроса, Вадим, вы говорили, что с уважением прошлого строить будущее. И мы знаем, что креативная экономика – это один из лучших инструментов для сохранения культурного наследия прошлого и создания наследия для будущего. Поэтому давайте строить мосты, сохранять свое наследие, создавать новое, чаще встречаться. Вот то, что мы сегодня здесь на панельной сессии познакомились. И, уважаемые участники, наши все участники сессии будут здесь, на территории конференции. Можете смело подходить, инициировать разговоры. И мне еще в блоге у вас, Шейрали, на сайте понравилась идея вот Марка Цукерберга. То, что вы пишете, что идеи не рождаются теми уже готовыми рецептами, их еще нужно реализовать. Поэтому, если к вам пришла идея, не бойтесь и делитесь этой идеей со своими сверстниками, со своим окружением, потому что только вместе мы можем стать лучше, и только вместе мы сможем построить креативную Центральную Азию. Я благодарю вас за ваше время, за ваш труд, ежедневный энтузиазм. Всего хорошего и до новых встреч на подобных площадках. Спасибо большое.
Огромное спасибо за ваши ценные сведения, уважаемые спикеры. Также благодарим всех участников за ваше присутствие, и мы уже переходим к следующему пункту нашей сегодняшней программы. Xonimlar va janoblar, bugungi dasturimizning navbatdagi qismiga o'tish arafasidamiz. Demak, 5 daqiqa davomida dasturimizning keyingi qismi, keyingi panel muhokamamizga o'tamiz. Xonimlar va janoblar, navbatdagi panel muhokamani boshlaymiz. Ladies and gentlemen, attention please. Panel session. The soundtrack of innovation, music as the heartbeat of creative industries. Moderator, Madina Ishmuradova, creative producer. Panelists, Matas Petrikas, founding member of SoundCloud. Artyom Atanisyan, AR manager, bandling. Georges Tom, composer and pianist. Alexei Frandetti, theater and film director, playwright. Isabella Peck, Department of Culture, Arts, Tourism and Sport, Kuala Lumpur City Hall.
One, two, three. Hi, everyone. Hello, my dear speakers. I'm extremely excited to be here right now because I've never been in such a great company, I think. I'm Madina Ishmuradova, a creative producer, as they said, and also a co-founder of Sublimation Lab. And today on this session, we will be speaking about pushing the boundaries of music, trying to find out how to contribute into our creative economy through music. And I have a beautiful panelist with me here, my very dear friend, I hope now, Matas, Matas Petrikas. People know him as a founding member of SoundCloud, though I would say a philosopher of music, a very pleasant gentleman, and a very good conversationalist. Artyom Atanisyan, I'm sorry for that. I just had a chance to meet him a few minutes ago, and it was such an inspiring conversation. He will be presenting us at Benling and Yandex as an artist relations manager. George Tom, hi, how are you doing today? A composer, a beautiful person. Very nice to have you today here. Hello, Alexei Frandetti. We're having here a theater and film director, a playwright, and looking forward to hear on your ideas. And thank you very much to see you, Isabella Peck, a academician, a head of music, and a musician, then and now. Thank you very much. If I may, I will start with Matas. What we are going to be doing now, I will be asking one by one our presenters to tell about themselves, to answer some questions, and then if we have time, we can answer your questions and maybe discuss some topics between each other. Let's see. Not sure that we will have enough time, but see. So my first question would be the question that was asked from you, I think, a few days ago on a different conversation, and that's about the what's more creative, the classical music or electronic music, and what combines the two generations and what unites the two generations, the old one and the new one?
Well, hello. Thank you for a good question, and I know I have answered previously, but I could also think about it a little bit more, one more time. I think that electronic music and classical music, they can be seen from the similar angle as a craft of art, as a craft of creation, and as a craft of innovation. Because classical music for many centuries was a place of innovation, not only from an aesthetical perspective, but also as a technology. If you look at the instruments of classical musicians, let's say 200 years ago, we changed quite a lot. you know, the synthesizer of 18th century was essentially the piano, you know, clavinet. And over time, there was a lot of technological work to be done in changing, evolving the sound. So when we're looking at electronical music, that kind of innovation is happening too, you know, but it's happening in front of our eyes. And of course, aesthetically, they are different now. The complexity of the classical music is maybe seems to be much richer, but it's also related to the fact that classical music, you know, took hundreds of years to evolve. So I would be imagining that electronic music, you know, in 200 years is going to be at least that complex, maybe even more.
Right. So, thank you very much for such an open answer. So, would you say? What is the new ways of not production then, but then transmission of the music, if I can call it this way?
Well, music actually quite recently, I mean, if looking at the historical terms, became listenable without performance. You know, I would say 100 years in human history, that's not a very long time. And that's how long recorded music exists, maybe plus minus 20 years. So the fact that we can enjoy music without being in the same room with a person who's playing created a massive audience of music. You know, like the access to music is not exclusive anymore. Everybody who is curious enough can find today any music they could imagine, and they could not imagine probably.
Right. Thank you very much. And that would be very logical transition to my second speaker, a person who represents here in Uzbekistan Yandex Music and Bandlink. Could you please tell me about the two platforms, and then also whether you faced any challenges here in Uzbekistan or Central Asia with like widening your business?
Assalamu alaikum. Привет. Hi. Nice to meet you. Yeah, thanks. It's a great honor to sit on such a big stage and see a lot of people that are interested in creative industries and music. Actually, I work in music industry since I think 2008, and I've seen something because I made my music blog, like label. I worked on some labels like Universal, and I had a chance to see how industry works from different angles. And now I work in music platform, Yandex Music. It's like one of the biggest streaming services, music streaming services in CIS, SNG. And I also work in Bandlink. It's under Yandex Music, and it helps it helps artists to promote themselves on streaming platforms, in social networks, and so on. And talking about shifts that I see now, you know, when I worked for musicians as a manager, I remember 2015, and like we had iTunes, we didn't have Apple Music, we had SoundCloud, and we were so excited when we get promotion in iTunes, like these banners, like hot top songs, fresh songs, and now I see that it became so usual that we have a large amount of playlists, like any displays in streaming services. So what I'm trying to say that now we're having a lot of opportunities for musicians to promote themselves. We have social networks, TikTok, it's crazy. So on the one side we have a lot of opportunities, and on the other side we have much more content than we ever had, because we had how many releases we have each week, like 10,000, 20,000, you know, and also we have like films, we have TikTok, Reels, and so on. So the shift is that the listener, the fan, have much more content to watch, to listen, and it became hard to catch the attention, you know, because we have so much content and it's so fast. I talked to Tommy Cash, manager, last days, and he said that they put reels on Instagram, and like the nicest like length of a video is 7 seconds.
Okay.
To catch the attention. So on the one hand, we have a lot of opportunities for promotion for artists. On the other hand, we have a lack of focus of listeners. So we are in Yandex Music and BandLink. We try to somehow solve it. And on the one hand, we had some instruments for promotion. For example, last month we launched new technology. It's called Nitro, like in Need for Speed Underground, you know. And what we do, the artist, the musician uploads the track, and he or she pitches it to streaming service, Yandex Music. So he or she can have 0 listeners, but it's not important, because we take the track, we see like the audio vector of this track, and we match it with the potential audience that can maybe like it. And we give some streams, like 10 streams, from 10 to 100 streams, and we test the track. Every track that was pitched, it has some streams, and then we see the engagement rate, and then we give a lot more streams to this artist. So every week we have like 20 top musicians from Nitro, and some of them, for example, the guy called X-Love, he boosted from 0 listeners to 800 listeners in 1 month.
That's insane. That's
Yeah.
insane to hear that. And as you said that one person would be able to listen to a song for 7 seconds or so on. I have a question to George. If you could tell us, George is here. He was called Young Maricone. The name I really like, and actually the movie that had a score, his score was featured in the Cannes Festival. It's insane. Thank you for being here. I just wanted to ask, so basically if we have such a short attention span, how in reality are we able to enjoy longer music, and whether you think how do you think theater and cinema influences the music production, and how do you think how the musician can find themselves in today's world?
Beautiful question. Actually, I do believe that the music is what inspires the movie and gives an inspiration to the movie, to the script. And it's not easy for a composer to try to portray the emotions of a story, because at the end of the day, if you imagine watching a movie like Titanic or Braveheart without music, you wouldn't feel any kind of emotions, or even Schindler's List. So it's very important for a composer first to understand the story behind every project, every opera, movie script, show that we're working together now, me and Alexei, for example, here in Uzbekistan. I think it's the opposite. The music should have the influence on the script to portray those emotions than the audience would feel while watching. It's not easy. It's not easy to first describe it, to give the director what he feels, the writer what he sees, and I think mentioning Ennio Morricone or John Williams or that I would dream to have 1% of their career, you know. They gave an identity for every project they gave. Like, for example, if we listen to the music of Cinema Paradiso, we know that this is the movie. This is, you know, we know the movie from the music. Same goes to John Williams in Star Wars or Jurassic Park. So I think music has shaped the identity of every movie, every project. And for example, I had a project a few months ago at Carnegie Hall in New York. I was commissioned to write a piece for Memorial Day of America. What's nice that I'm not American myself, but you have to feel the story, right? And Memorial Day of America is, you know, this day where it gives respect to the people who dedicated their lives, right, to their country, to their people. So me being from Lebanon, I grew up there, I was also inspired from my country, but I tried to understand what is Memorial Day for America. And it was performed in Carnegie Hall. I hope we're going to have a small chance to hear a little bit of it. But writing different genres of music between ballet, opera, and cinema, or even sometimes I write music for an Indian movie. I have to go there to understand the culture. Or now, for example, I'm here in Uzbekistan to write the music of Bygone Days with Alexei Franduti. And I came here and I heard the music and the different instruments of Uzbekistan. And you need to try to be inspired by their rhythm, by their culture, by their food, by their people, by their generosity, their hospitality. All these things inspire the composer to write a music. Or another example, the last movie that I scored, Romano Artioli, Reviving Bugatti. This guy, he's a legend. He's like Enzo Ferrari, Ferruccio Lamborghini, those iconic men that shaped the world and the car business. And writing music for a car or for a guy that is behind the car, you know, this is a mechanic thing. There's no emotion in it, right? But I had to travel and live, like, you know, I spent some time with Romano and his wife to understand his life, their love life, his success, his hardship, everything, to be inspired to write the music behind his story. So I feel it's not easy to always create a theme that is memorable, you know, because if you think about it, you go into the theater, you leave the theater, and then it's important that the music stays in your head. If the music stays in your head, then the composer succeeded in, you know, in portraying those emotions and invading your soul with the music. Yeah, shaping an identity in a musical project is not something easy, especially if there's different cultures, different religions, right? Different countries. But music, for me, and I hope for everybody, I think is the best unifying language that can break boundaries, that can, you know, it's like I call it like a solvent. It dissolves everything, right? In one entity. It makes countries come together, people come together, religions come together. We pray with music, right? Like, I don't know, I feel without music there's no life.
Without music there is no life.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just wanted, because I do understand your perspective on putting so much emphasis on music, because you are a composer, but we have here a director, and I'm very curious, what does he think about that? And if you could please tell us about your work a bit, and then what do you think, because we're still talking about the music innovation, how can music influence your art?
Thank you. Thank you for this question. And first of all, before I will answer you, I just wanted to say thank you for the invitation that I'm here, because, well, originally I'm from Tashkent, from Uzbekistan, and I wasn't here for years. and I am so happy and so proud when I'm just see all this huge forum and all this absolutely great new beautiful city, new faces, and I'm really I'm really happy about that. So yes, we are working on absolutely new production of the musical Bygone Days, based on one of the most popular Uzbek novel by Abdullah Qadiri, and we are working on a first musical on Uzbek language, but in a Broadway style. You know, because I'm working in a musical theater, in opera, mostly in musicals and in ballet, and it's very interesting how transform the classical story into absolutely modern way, and in absolutely new view, because George never read, and me also never read this novel, and when we just trying to tell it in a new way, it's great. When we just working in a class in a conservatory here in Tashkent and to try to find something new. That's great. But it's very complicated dialogue between every time between dramatic theater and the musical theater, because I'm a big musical theater fan, but every time I told every person that the music is more powerful than a word, because you cannot understood a lot of languages, but you understood the mood and the atmosphere of the music, and it's fantastic. And I'm very proud to working with the George and with all this great team with whom we creating absolutely new product for the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Isabella Peck, may I please ask you, Isabella Peck, as I already said, is a musician herself as well as academician. Can we please hear your perspective? And you are coming from Kuala Lumpur. Have you seen the differences between Central Asian agenda on music and yours? What would you say are the differences? What are the challenges?
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, dear all. First of all, thank you for having me here. That is a very big question.
Yeah. Sorry.
Because you asked me if there is a difference in agenda and the differences between Central Asia and Kuala Lumpur. I have actually prepared to talk about the music industry and how music is the heartbeat of the music industry, which is the topic. But before I get to that, just allow us a bit of introducing, if I can introduce the music scenes in Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur is a city of about 2 million population, not too big, not too small. People come to work in the city and at night they are not there. So that is one of the issues that we are facing. But what do we do? I work for the Kuala Lumpur City Hall, and under the Kuala Lumpur City Hall, my unit, we have a full-time orchestra of 80-piece musicians. And orchestra, as in the Western Orchestra, and we perform 99% of Malaysian repertoire. We do not perform Beethoven, Brahms, Tchaikovsky, no. Simply because this is the 36th year of the existence of the orchestra, there were no reception, if I may say so. The concerts are free, but people don't come to concerts that are not of Malaysian nature. Is this clear? Yeah. So people want to hear music and they want to, well, concerts, you know, we see it, yeah? So they want to hear and they come to concerts that are of Malaysian, that are close to them. So, yeah. So among other things, you know, and being the city hall, the bosses who are not musicians, with all due respect. And so they say, you know, perform music that are close to the people and we'll get good receptions. And so we do that. And after many years, identity, you know, after many years, we have built ourselves a very unique identity in that we have Malaysian music. Some of whom would criticize it as, oh yeah, this sounds like Broadway, this sounds like whatever that you label it, but the fact remains that the music is out of Malaysia, is out of Kuala Lumpur, but with the influences from global, like from US, from UK, wherever, from Germany even, you know, the music is of different influence, obviously, you know. Now, if I may say so a bit, you know, the difference, I have not been here long enough to know the difference, but watching the slides earlier, the few minutes earlier, you were talking about rejuvenation and everything else. I guess, if I may say so, I think the agenda is the same, you know. You just want to have economic activities so that the people live better, so that all are in a better place than we were, say, 10 years or maybe 3 years ago, you know, because developments are so fast nowadays. Thank you. I hope I answered a bit.
Yeah,
yes?
you have. Thank you very much. Thank you for answering my questions, Matas. I just wanted to check also with you whether, because you've stayed here for longer, you've stayed here for a week or so. So what do you think, how can an Uzbek musician, let's imagine some Uzbek musician who wants to become more prominent, what can he do in order to be heard?
Do you mean the advice I could give to
yes, definitely.
Central Asian musicians?
That's exactly what we want. We have mythical Central Asian musician.
Well, it depends, of course, what particular creator wants, you know. Some musicians want success, some just want to be heard, some of them maybe are looking for friends, and I hope that most of them, they enjoy the process themselves of creation, right? Looking at a little bit more globally, I think it's essential to find your own voice, meaning that maybe we all learn from copying somebody, you know, like starting film composer might learn from John Williams or Morricone, you know, but over time the expectation and hope is that they will find their own voice. And the same goes for locality as well. I believe that musicians who, for example, come from Uzbekistan, they will be much happier and much more successful if they find a way to combine the global trends, the zeitgeist, you know, what is happening right now and in the future, and combine it with something very local, maybe really old, you know, forgotten things. And sometimes it's even things that you might not be comfortable with because you feel that it's, you know, like not really valuable, you know. I would say, like, look at what your grandparents like, actually. This is maybe a place to start looking, you know, and then combining those fragments, the stories of your childhood, the sounds of your childhood, the latest trends in the world, this is where things will start happening. And not to be forgotten, I think it's the creativity often is presented as a solo process, as if it would be one genius making it. But in the end, I think it's all about community, about
Right.
collective of people working together.
Thank
It's very
you.
important.
Thank you very much. Talking about global trends, George, can I ask you, what do you think are the modern genre that are the most trending, I would say, and is there anything you would suggest on blending to as you think that would, I don't know if I can say that, sound delicious, sound like, yeah.
To be honest, I'm an old school composer, which means my only tools that I use are my hands and the pencil and the paper. And that's a weakness, by the way, in days like that, because I need to be more open to electronic music and other genres of music that involves electronic music. For example, if a director comes to me and says we need more electronic style of music, I have to be ready to fulfill that. And now I'm learning that because, you know, okay, classical is an amazing genre of music, but let's say James Bond, it's a classical score, right? For Hans Zimmer. But once Hans Zimmer finishes the score, he adds electronic to it, and these are the effect that adds the speed, the frightening, you know, the action. And this on this field, I have to be more open to learn about this world that I feel not as knowledgeable with as my field. Because, you know, okay, I write music, I travel, let's say I record with the London Symphony Orchestra, with the Budapest Symphony Orchestra, and then I submit the score. But then I have to understand that in some scripts, the producer needs to impose a certain electronic style, and I have to be open to that. It's very important to be open to that, especially that this is with AI and all the new innovations, musical innovations. I have to be open to that, and that's a good question. Even though I couldn't give you much answer because I don't have much experience on that, and I'm sure you guys have more experience on that. But I'm learning to add. Now I have a project, the Bugatti project. I'm learning to add electronic upon the classical score. But I do believe, and that's a personal opinion, I don't have to be right. Even if a producer needs electronic music, a score is a score, which means the foundation of a score has to be classical. You know, like the score is classical orchestra, existing orchestra with electronic remix, maybe, you know. James Bond is a good example for that, the score.
Yeah, thank you very much. So basically, we have a musician who has a core. In his core, he believes in what he's doing. He understands what is fashionable. Where do we get the funding, Isabella?
Before I answer that question, just a bit of before you get the impression that there is no European classical music in Malaysia, that's not true. Yeah, okay. It's just that we don't play it. There are one more orchestras that are atas a bit, you know, and they perform Beethoven, Brahms, Tchaikovsky. Yes, they do. And you have to pay $60 to get the ticket. Whereas my concerts are free to access. And we usually perform in the outdoor. Just one thing. Now, to answer the question, funding, you would have to ask from the different agencies in Malaysia. In fact, we were just talking about it. You will hear from the lady later, Miss Izan. She will be talking about creative cities as a whole. But she was involved in many agencies, basically from the Ministry of Tourism, basically from the Ministry of My Creative Venture, also under Ministry of Finance. What else? And some big companies, like really big companies, and they set up a foundation so that they give out funding for musicians, music productions, for capacity building, and for mobility. In other words, let's say if you want to come to Tashkent, but you can't afford, etc., etc. So they do. there are funding opportunities, but the reality remains that you need to be educated, number one, in order to fill the forms correctly, to say the right words, to say the right thing, you know. And we were just talking about it, you know, musicians are so lethargic having to explain my music. Yeah, but you just have to do it or hire someone to do it for you in order so that you get the funding, so that's important. City Hall, no, we don't do that. We are a local government. So thank God, they maintain the orchestra, and we are working very hard to make ourselves relevant to the soundscape and the scape of the city, to make it a vibrant place to live and to invest in. So because if the city has music activities, obviously it's a better city than another that doesn't not have that. But there aren't any cities in the world that do not have music. Do you know any?
Right. No.
No.
Thank you.
So all cities in the world have music. Yeah. So in connection with music industry, that is definitely the heartbeat of the creative industry, as if the music activities, which is also omnipresent in films, in plays, in everything, advertising, in everything. It's not just like going into the concert hall and you consider that music performance. No, not just that. It is everywhere. On your handphone, and in education, you do that for education, you do it for therapy, for people with Alzheimer, with,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. So I think it's everything. And I think the music part is actually the ecosystem, the whole thing, because it is connected to taxes, to license, to everything, and how you bill you connect it all. Then we get to do music. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think with the last 3 questions, we summarized a bit the idea of the session. But in general, we would love to talk to you like for hours, definitely, because there is so much knowledge within you. Thank you very much for being here. And I would finish with the words, music is life. Thank you very much. We will have to leave, and I hope that we can join you maybe on your social network and maybe ask some more questions. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for being our guest. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Rahmat.
Thank you all. We have gathered valuable insights. Okay, we would like to express our gratitude to the following general sponsors for their support of our event: Orient Group of Companies, Art Packaging, Uzum, Pepsi, Interforum, Ariel. We would also like to thank the following official sponsors for their contribution to our event: GameSpace, Samsung, Blanc Bleu, Yandex, Zikr, Uz Telecom, Yoshlar Kelajagimiz Jamg'armasi. We appreciate the collaboration with our educational partners: British Council, ADB Institute, Westminster University. Thank you for your support. Tadbirimizni qo'llab-quvvatlagani uchun quyidagi bosh homiylarga minnatdorlik bildiramiz: Orient Group of Companies, Art Packaging, Uzum, Pepsi, Interforum hamda Ariel. Shuningdek, tadbirimizga qo'shgan hissalari uchun quyidagi rasmiy homiylarga ham minnatdorlik bildiramiz: GameSpace, Samsung, Blanc Bleu, Yandex, Zikr, Uz Telecom hamda Yoshlar Kelajagimiz Jamg'armasi. British Council, ADB instituti, Westminster universiteti kabi ta'lim sheriklarimiz bilan hamkorlik qilganimiz uchun ham minnatdormiz. Qo'llab-quvvatlaganingizga tashakkur bildiramiz. Мы выражаем благодарность в содействии в нашем мероприятии генеральным спонсорам: Orient Group of Companies, Art Packaging, Uzum, Pepsi, Interforum, Ariel. Выражаем благодарность в содействии в нашем мероприятии официальным спонсорам: GameSpace, Samsung, BlackBlue, Yandex, Zikr, Ustelecom. Yoshlar kelajagimiz jamg'armasi. Мы ценим сотрудничество с нашими образовательными партнерами Британский совет, ADB институт и университет Вестминстер. Благодарим за ваш огромный вклад. Ladies and gentlemen, the next panel session, the soundtrack of innovation, music as a heartbeat of creative industries. We already had this panel session and we are going to the next. Imagining Urban Futures, a dialogue on creative cities. Izan Satrina Moht Salahiddin, Senior Director, Think City. Borina Andrea, Managing Director, Wilmot and Associates. Dennis Bach, Secretary, UNESCO Creative Cities Network and Coordinator of the UNESCO Cities Platform, Culture Sector, UNESCO. Moderator, Dvinita Larasati, Deputy of Strategic Partnership, the Indonesia Creative Cities Network.
Check. All right, it's on. Good afternoon. Please sit down, ladies. Welcome to the session about urban future. So I am really pleased and honored to introduce our speakers, our ladies here. We have Denise Bucks, the Secretary of the UNESCO Creative Cities Network within UNESCO's culture sector, where she leads the coordination of the UCCN and the UNESCO Cities Platform, or UCP. And then we have Izan Satrina. She's an old friend because she's from Malaysia, and we, Indonesia and Malaysia, formed Southeast Asia Creative Cities Network back in the 2014. She's a Senior Director of Think City now in Malaysia. And we have Borina Andrew, Managing Director of Wilmot and Associates, Advisor to the National Committee of French Foreign Trade and Knight of the French Legion of Honor. She frequently shares her vision on the future of cities and responsible architecture. And with this, I would like to have Denise, please, to just offer your insights on the highlights of ways in which members of the UNESCO Creative Cities Network, or UCCN, how they have implemented measures to foster a more sustainable urban future. Please, Denise.
Thank you. Thank you, Tita. Thank you. Good morning. To start off, I would like to greet all of you and express what an honor is to be part of this discussion this morning. My gratitude to the organizers of the conference for their kind invitation here in the inspiring city of Tashkent. The UNESCO Creative Cities Network, UCCN, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year, firmly believes that cultural and creativity potential of the city and its importance in the inter-city cooperation for sustainable development. By committing to fulfill the network objective and mission, all creative cities work together towards the implementation of the 2030 Agenda and beyond. Today, the network comprises 350 member cities across 7 creative fields: craft and folk art, design, film, gastronomy, literature, music, and media arts. All of these cities are taking action for developing new policies and strategy at the local level. We work with cities. We provide them a platform of exchange and collaboration. And in this regard, our creative cities across the world contribute to, I would say, environment conducive to the elaboration of innovative initiatives. It was very interesting to be here today and to listen to the previous panel and the importance of culture, of creativity and heritage. In that sense, I would also like to mention that we are proud to count with Bukhara, which is UNESCO Creative Cities of Crafts and Folk Art, designated in 2023. And the city, what is interesting with Bukhara is the city showcases understanding that building the sustainable urban city starts also with the heritage assets. Indeed, in Bukhara, each visitor is invited to discover the city, the craftsmen, the crafts workshop, engage dialogue with local artisans, as well as visiting, I would say, important landmarks. Another key dimension here for imagining future cities is also inclusivity, which is also important to take into account when we are thinking about the future of cities. I mentioned before international and intercity cooperation, which is, I would say, at the core of the network. It reflects in policies, in strategies implemented at a local level to achieve sustainable development. Here I would like to mention some initiatives. For example, I'm thinking about two creative cities, Angoulême in France and Nanjing in China. They have started a joint traveling residency program around the art of comics. So the idea behind is, at the end of the day, to produce a travel book showcasing the most important experiences in different creative cities. Of course, I am able to talk about many other initiatives, but as you can easily imagine, with 350 creative cities across the world, it's a little bit difficult. But I would like to invite you and encourage you to consult, to visit the UNESCO website dedicated to UCCN to learn more about the program. Before concluding, I would like to also mention a very interesting initiative that our moderator knows very well, which is a Bandung conceptualization of the city as a playground. This initiative is really a good example of how culture and creativity can be leveraged to design and improve urban environments. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Yeah, it is actually the UNESCO Creative Cities Network provides a lot of showcases that actually really contextual to their own characteristics, conditions, and so on. So there's no one-size-fits-all solutions or initiatives, because then we can connect and collaborate, like what Angoulême does, and so on. And also remember that in 2016, UNESCO published this Culture Urban Future book, and then we all also have references from those, because it also contains examples of cities and how they can utilize their creative power to actually change the not only the look of the city, but also the performance. So we're going back to that, considering the urban future theme. So next we'll move to Izan Satrina. So she's from now she's representing Think City, Malaysia, who also has a lot of examples that we can learn from. Please, Izan.
Inshallah. Thank you. Assalamualaikum, everybody. Thank you to the organizers for having me today. It's a huge honor to be here, and especially with an all-female panel. Yay. So as Tita explained, I'm Izan. I come from Malaysia. It's a country of more than 32, 35 million population. We're very diverse. We're multi-pluralism, meaning that we have many cultures, many traditions and rituals, and we tend to blend with each other's culture a bit more. And hence why our history and our culture and our stories are very important in the work that we do at Think City, which is about revitalizing cities. And what I'll be focusing on today is with having culture and creative in mind. Oh, so do we have slides from the tech team? Adakah?
Oh, you can keep talking.
Okay, so
While
I'll just
waiting for the
continue
slides.
until the slides are actually up. So Think City was established in 2009 by Khazanah. It's the investment arm of the government. And at the time, we launched the Georgetown Grants Program. And if you've never been to Malaysia, Georgetown is actually part of an island up north of Peninsula Malaysia. And it was then awarded the UNESCO World Heritage Site status. And the role of our organization then was to promote community engagement, foster more preservation and celebration of the city's unique cultural heritage. And through the grants, we've actually provided more than 200 grants to projects that actually brought life to the city, improved public realm, conservation, a lot of capacity building platforms and content development. And the success of these programs and know-how and the skills that were developed helped escalate market confidence in Georgetown and catalyze the citywide urban regeneration. And the underlying philosophy here is that improved livability actually drives economic transformation. Following Georgetown's success, Think City expanded to other cities across Peninsula Malaysia, and it signaled our shift in our role, moving beyond grant disbursements to actively shaping various aspects of city making. We worked on culture-based economies, master planning, data analytics, urban resilience, conservation, anything to do with making cities more livable and lovable, and working with different partners, local, international, federal, state government, community, and the people is what we anchored ourselves in. And we always believe in improving the quality of life in urban spaces by centering our efforts in people. Now, we also believe we are a convener. And as a convener, we are able to convene different parties, public and private and people. And we also leverage on the power of small, you and I and all of us doing different things that actually scale up what a city can truly be. And we practice this framework that talks about discovering, diagnosing, developing prototypes, deploying it, and duplicating these interventions if they were good for that particular space and community. And I was hoping with the slides, I could show you some visuals about the 3 places that we worked on that were quite different. One is Georgetown. That used to be a port into what it is today, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And the beauty of it is that we worked on balancing heritage preservation with cultural innovation, and how we worked with community and institutions on their initiatives like heritage conservation and street art projects that has blended a lot of the history of modern culture that makes Georgetown very special today. From the work that we've done, the sort of outcome is 300% tourism arrivals, increased of tourism receipts that help the state government reinvest that core funds into redeveloping the city for the benefit of the people. So I think the other case study is also northern part of Peninsula Malaysia, but the approach was slightly different. We leveraged on archaeological sites, nature, natural sites, and that is what we focused on. I think there was one city called Lengong. It was, it's a history spanning over 2 million years, one of the longest records of early man in a single locality, and the oldest outside the African continent. And what we did here is transform the city by bringing the past into the present and showing proof that local communities can benefit from change. And if it's good for them, then only, I think Verena will also talk about this, when it's good for the local residents and the local communities, naturally external visitors will come into the site, and that is how it will benefit that particular city. But what we've done across the peninsula of northern Peninsula Malaysia is we've developed a network of these cultural, natural, and archaeological sites where you can sort of explore you spend 2 hours, go up north, spend another day, and then go to another city, and it's all interlinked. And the awareness of it, the mainstreaming of it, is what made the whole initiative successful.
Your slide is up, Izan.
Pardon? Oh, okay, well, I'm at my last slide. But, so this was the approach I was telling you about, the 5Ds, the convener, the conversation about leveraging on power of small, in crowding in the best community initiatives and supporting them to scale up their initiatives that makes changes in the city. I talked about the 5Ds, remember? The diagnose, developing, deployment, duplicating. These were some of the master plan works that were done first before we actually entered and introduced certain interventions. This is, of course, Georgetown, which we were talking about earlier on, how it was a port and then transformed into a city to what it is today as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Lengong, a beautiful part of Malaysia, 2 million years old history. And now what we're working on is actually the capital state of Malaysia, which is Kuala Lumpur. And in Kuala Lumpur itself, because of development, a lot of people have left out, or institutions have left, and it's hollowing out. But it has an established ecosystem. There are 500 traditional shop houses, a lot of history and culture, and we're currently finalizing our master plan for the old city of Kuala Lumpur and trying to deploy best conservation of institutional historical buildings of the site and using our approach of a power of small, convening everybody to ensure that the scaling up of the city is done and revitalized. So I hope to maybe share with you a little bit more later after Verena presents as well.
Thank you, Izan. It's been interesting, especially we want to know the governance of how you, as a small group, can manage first in Georgetown and then spreading to other towns in Kuala Lumpur. Now we're looking forward to hear from Verena. Please.
Hi. Thank you very much for inviting me here. I love Uzbekistan, and you know, cities is our future, and I hope I can get my slides. It's much more, they talk much better than I do. Anyway, so we at Wilmot & Associated Architects, we have a very special vision that absolutely covers exactly what Izam and Denise said. So how to combine better life in cities through enhancing the heritage, improving the access, and building for the future. So this very important balance between past and future, it's what it's really the aim of our architecture and urban planning. And you see, it's before the cities, they were spreading, then they went up. Now sometimes they go down, and I was discussing with the rector of the University for Architecture and Engineering here in Uzbekistan, in Tashkent, and he has a group of researchers, students that are working on that. I would love to work with all those young people to enhance this vision. So I don't know if my PowerPoint will come, but there are several ways of improving life in city. One of the the very important point, it's what we call the Bilbao effect, but so through a building that you restore or you build, you improve the whole area. We did this in Paris with a very remarkable project. It's a building, it's the Eiffel Tower length, 310 meters length and 60 meters deep. So it was an old station for goods built by an engineer called Eugène Freycinet in 1927, which was an extremely creative engineer. So the thickness of the pre-stressed concrete was 5 centimeters. So this is a listed building that we converted into the biggest digital incubator in the world. So you have 1,000 startups working at the same place. It's the French Silicon Valley. But through this building that I would like to show you, but it will come hopefully, not only we did a new building, but we did a new creative area around. It's very close to the Seine River in the 13th arrondissement area of Paris. But you know, the connection with the community was amazing. So people now they're crossing the building, which before was like a fortress. So how, in an inclusive way, you can do something that is really important for the community. So here we are. So this is about ourselves. So we are 270 people. You know, we were not allowed to use the circles for the Olympic Games, so we made them square. But this is the company. And yeah, up on the other side, up, it doesn't work, up, yeah. So this is the Freycinet. It was like that, and we refurbished it completely. And you see what was done. This is another story. It's a temporary building in the center of Paris. This is another way to improve the city without and being extremely sustainable. So this is something that was built in a wooden structure to replace the Grand Palais, which was under refurbishment. And it's a modular structure, 10,000 square meters. Doesn't work, yeah. Next. So you see, it was built in 7 months, almost without foundation, and it hosted all kinds of events because you have 10,000 square meters without any column, and you had part of the Olympic Games in there, and it's going to be dismantled and built in another spaces. And you see, it's quite an important structure. Well, anyway, we leave the thing to go. And finally, I wanted to talk to you about the Bukhara master plan that we are working on right now. It's a very important thing for us because the old city of Bukhara, everybody dreams about that, but it was in a quite bad condition, and we are in charge of that, and the master plan is going to be ready by the end of the year. Of course, this is under the protection of UNESCO, ICOMOS. We all work together. There is a big team because we want to make the city good for the people who are living there. Exactly what Yuzan said. This is the most important thing. Afterwards, you know, the tourists, they will come anyway, but think about people living in the city. So how to create new employment, how to enhance. I regret that our friend didn't come, Sabrina. She is a carpet maker. But you see, we have 139 buildings monitored now. And through this new kind of vision of the old city, we're going to build the city of the future. And I think this is the most important thing we can bring. We can bring new green area to restore the havus that they had through this irrigation system, which was so smart and it disappeared. So we are going to restore it. We are going to make new functions in different old buildings. So the city is going to live again in a very normal way with transportation, sustainable ones, with pedestrian paths, with cycles, etc., etc. And here you see, this is the future museum of jadidism and how you restore. And this is something, it's a scoop, it's the future museum for the Silk Road in Samarkand. We are working on that as well, and on the Registan Square, to make it more accessible and inclusive to people who live there. And I had something else to say, but during the conversation, because otherwise it's too long.
Thank you so much. It's fascinating to see. Yes, please, round of applause for our speakers, ladies who are leading the cities. It's amazing how then we can learn from the past civilization to build our future civilization. So maybe this is the last round because of the limited time. We need to have a focus takeaway for the audience and for ourselves. So for Denise, maybe you are, because within the UNESCO Creative Cities Network, you've seen a lot of varieties of how creative communities make changing to the cities and all. How does maybe UNESCO as an organization and yourself see the future network of creative cities? How would they contribute to the future common sustainable development within this context? And for Izan, maybe later, so we can just go turn right away. Again, about the governance of how can you handle such big projects of making the cities more livable and sustainable. Yes, with a small team. And Borina, it will be, of course, I would love to visit when it's done to, again, experience how we used to live as a civilization, and then how would we behave in the future, because cities or design or tangible products, facilities can influence our behavior as citizens. And we would like to have your take on that. Please.
Thank you, Tita, for the question. I think that 20 years ago, when the network was created, it was at the same time a way, to recognize the contribution of cities, of the local level, to global challenges and opportunities. Today, I would say that all creative cities work toward the same objective, but how are they working? Of course, we have, 350 creative cities across the globe in different creative fields. So, of course, the creative city of Bukhara in craft and folk art is focusing, as Borina mentioned, on specific, I would say, techniques, maybe on know-how. And in Fabriano, in Italy, which is also a creative city of folk art, smaller city, but at the same time with the same concern and the same, I would say, objectives. Indeed, I would also like to add that what is also very interesting in this conversation this morning is we can see that we are, all of us, working, of course, from different perspectives, but we are trying to respond to the needs of the local communities. Trying to respond to the needs of local communities means, of course, by offering them transportation, of course, housing, but also and above all, offering through culture and creativity access to museums, access to creative industries, developing creative markets, generating income, generating jobs. So all of this participate and create, I would say, an enabling environment for the cities and their inhabitants. So I would be very pleased to pursue this conversation. I'm here today, but I should stop, otherwise my dear friends cannot speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Izan?
Thanks, Denise. Thanks, Ita. I think maybe there are two parts here. I think one in terms of governance. Governance for Georgetown and Kuala Lumpur is quite different. Georgetown is ground up, a lot of ground up before, and also working top down. The modality is such that we do need also political commitment to drive these sort of transformations, but it's also important the groundswell to also scale up the initiatives that they wanted to do. We started with a team of 3 very ambitious people in Think City, which Tita I'm sure knows them very well. And we're now a team of close to 100, working across Malaysia, but also started some work as well in Hyderabad in India with Aga Khan. In Kuala Lumpur, the modality is the same, but it's heavy top-down as well because it's the capital city of the Malaysia. And the intent of Kuala Lumpur is to reignite patriotism through preservation of these institutions and cultural sites, but also to restore the glory of the capital city of KL, capital city of Malaysia, which is KL. So that's in terms of governance. In terms of maybe some learnings that I think is key as a takeaway, culture should evolve, meaning to say that when restoring sites and conserving sites, we can move with modernity, move with technology, move with innovation. And it's important to make whatever we have in terms of creative cities our own. I think it's driving community first rather than tourism first is also necessary in this conversation. Leveraging on successes to change perceptions of stakeholders if you have struggles in your own cities in influencing people to join this broader journey of transforming cities. And perhaps also the last one is how the power of small is very key here, and the power of arts as well to change. I'll leave it as that, Tita.
Thank you. Marina, please.
You know, it's, I mean, we could speak for hours, and I think the subject is so important. You see, the taking part as a stakeholder in a project, I will come back to Bukhara. We've been in discussion with all the mahalas, with all different type of ages, people, education and things. Because it's very important to be really on ground and talk to the local community and also bring something new, because sometimes when you are too close, you don't have the necessary distance to bring solutions that are a little bit more different. But we, in the 30 countries that we always work with the local partners, colleagues, but also local population. You mentioned Hyderabad and the Aga Khan. We are working with the teams of the Aga Khan Foundation for Culture in Bukhara and Samarkand as well. And we have exactly the same approach. Yesterday we visited here in the Mahala a new place that they're restoring together with the Fund for Art and Heritage of Uzbekistan. And I would like to thank Mrs. Gayane Umerova, who does a fantastic work with her teams to renovate, to have a new vision for all this heritage that they have. And to finish, I would like to say that we discovered 20 years ago that in the architectural universities, people didn't learn how to renovate, or the future is always only linked in renovation and reuse of buildings. But with the new technology, without copying, without doing pastiche, but doing something new. And we launched a foundation about what we call the architectural graft. So how to combine all the new in a good proportion, in good balance. And we have a competition every other year, which is European competition. Now we have people from Ukraine, Russia, Georgia, Armenia, but I think I would like to include Uzbekistan in that. It's going to become something very big, to learn how to renovate in the moment of new use of the building. So we give awards, we expose the best work in the Venice Biennale. So I welcome you all in May next year to the Biennale in Venice to see our, and it's open for students all years, nevertheless, even first year, and young, young architects with less than 3 years of diploma. So, welcome.
Thank you. with that, we have to close the session, but we can still talk for hours about this subject because it's in our passion. And the keywords are maybe inclusive accessibility for all, because these are what we have in common as well. Involving local culture and inhabitants within the context that will build our identity as well. And like Izan said, patriotism in a way that we can also contribute to our development. So with that, thank you, ladies. It's a pleasure to speak. And with this, I return this stage to the master. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here at lunchtime.
Thank you, everyone. All speakers were pleased to have you here. Xonimlar va janoblar, keyingi panel muhokamamizga tayyorgarlik ko'ramiz. Qadrli ishtirokchilar, 5 daqiqa ichida keyingi panel muhokamaga start beramiz. We have 5 minutes left until the second panel session. Check, check. Check, check. Attention please. Panel discussion. Art as a multi-industry catalyst. Startups leading the way. Mike Rio Roda, founder, creative VC. Begzat Fayazov, VFX supervisor, United South. Nisa Jetta, global impact strategist. Mubarak Khan Yusupova, project manager, Grace Project. Moderator, Birje Batman, Entrepreneurship, Cooperation and Technology Transfer Department, Bilken Cyberpark.
So welcome again. Dear participants, welcome to our panel where we will explore the transformative impact of the creative economy on entrepreneurship ecosystem with inspiring speakers from diverse fields. Today we are joined by leading figures from various countries and industries who are actively supporting the creative economy. It's a great honor to be here with such esteemed individuals, and I'm thrilled to moderate this session. So, my name is Birje Batman, and I'm working as entrepreneurship, cooperation, and technology transfer expert at Bilken Cyberpark. Bilken Cyberpark is Turkey's first private university-based technopark. As one of Turkey's leading technopark, we have been forefront of entrepreneurship activities in the field of creative industries. To give an example, over past 2 years, we have conducted an in-depth analysis of the entrepreneurship ecosystem and sector needs within the creative industries. Based on our findings, we have launched a digital cultural entrepreneurship incubation center program called Cyberculture. And after that, building on the knowledge and experience gained through this program, we have expanded our efforts internationally. And now we are currently running a project on creative industries both in Turkey and Uzbekistan, supported by the Ministry of Culture of Turkey. And also we selected Uzbekistan as a pilot region to further support the creative economy. So without further, I would like to begin by introducing our distinguished speakers. Mike, Begzat Munbaro, Nisa, welcome again. And could you please introduce yourself? Maybe we can start with you, Mubaro.
Hi everyone. Hi. Hi again. My name is Mubora. I am project manager at Grace Projects. I'm very honored to be here. Thank you all. And yes, we would like to thank Uzbekistan Art and Culture Development Foundation for organizing such an amazing event and giving us an opportunity to present you our newest application today. So which we will speak later on. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for being here. I'm very honored. I am a global impact strategist, and that means I do impact strategy for brands, government advisory, and corporates. I've worked as a lawyer, and I'm currently working with large brands and music corporates. And I will pass it on.
Hey everyone, my name is Begzat. I'm Begzat Fayazov. I'm the visual effects supervisor at the company called United South. What I do, I basically supervise the visual effects for the movies and the animation production. So yeah, well, we'll speak about it a little bit later.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mike Pierroda. I'm an investor and general partner for Social Study Ventures. We invest at the intersection of consumer media and technology. Outside of that, I'm also an advisor with the Creative VC that helps creative founders and creative startups find a footing within the startup world. So trying to connect and bridge finance with technology. That's me.
So nice to meeting with you also. Actually, today we're going to be discussing about the creative economy. And as we all know, the creative economy is often defined as multidisciplinary and broad field, but its exact definition and boundaries are not clearly established yet. So, all of our speakers, based on your experiences, what are the elements and sectors do you see as a central of creative economy? And also, I would like to ask all of you, what key areas should we focus on to better understand and support the creative economy in sustainable way?
Well, I guess I will start. So I feel like community engagement should be one of the focal points of creative economy, because people are the main drivers of the economy alongside with the ideas that they bring. So it should come from people, for people. We should foster national identity, making everyone feel seen and included. So yeah, I would say cultural engagement.
Yeah, I would say that following on that, aside from the music industry, TV industry, the regulars, I do also feel that it's important to focus on other cultural industries like visual arts, digital advertising, and that will also have ramifications on the regulatory aspect, because there'll be very specific protections on how we define this going forward. And I've seen that as a lawyer, some industries don't get the grant and or other funding. I really agree with what you said about community. We were part of a music campaign, and we started something called the B-side, where we would highlight only local artists, and then we would bid, at a conference like this where they could profile someone who was in the local area, and how else does someone like that get their next shot. So I think community engagement and really narrative storytelling around that is key. And then making sure the kind of crossover industries, creative lawyers, people who are working in the industry, really get subsumed into this, because I think that is where you have a lot of regulatory deadlock and the industry can't move forward.
So I totally agree with our experts. Okay. So the creative industry, well, before I was invited to this event, I never thought about what is the difference between the creative industry and the traditional, the creative economy and the traditional economy that we used to study. And so while searching for the logical answer to this question, I made a conclusion that the creative industry is this kind of mixture of art, technology, and the storytelling. And the medias which are involved in it is the film production, the music, the gaming, and the content creation. So all of these are kind of mixed. And so you say, and what? So what does that make the difference between the traditional economy? In my opinion, the fact that there is one common thing between all this stuff is that they had the storytelling in core. And in the creative economy, people used to not to just produce something, but they are working on the ideas. And usually when you are, well, let's take an example. So I won't be sure, is it okay if I will just give the broader explanation for that? So for example, let's take, from my perspective, I work in the film industry, and we used to watch movies. So can you raise your hands if you like watching movies? So, okay, cool. So movie lovers. So, and when we watch the movie, at the end we have the end credits, right? So, and the first thing we read is, so the film written and directed by, I don't know, the Michael Bay. And then there are thousands and thousands of people who worked on this movie. So Michael Bay could be considered as a creator in the economy industry, in the creative industry, and there are a lot of executors. So, and as executors, so what we are dealing with is that we are not just producing some stuff, but we need to visualize the idea of a certain creator, which makes it really tricky and abstract. So we're always playing the guessing game, where we need to pick the right moment and the right version which director likes. So that makes it different from the other industries. So that's why the creative economy should be considered as a separate type of economy. So we're all gathered here to discuss it in details.
Thank you for that. And I kind of want to jump in on that storytelling perspective. I'm going to give a bit of a story here. But before that, I have to say, this was a great question, because I think it is very important to find the definition of what the creative economy really is, since we're all here today. What I wanted, actually before this, I want to know if there's any startups in the crowd or anything like that. Okay, at least one, which is good. So I don't know if this is a known fact. Since I am in VC, I have to pitch investors every single time I raise up a fund, similar to you. And when I was raising my fund back in 2019, I would go to fund of funds, institutional capital, sovereign wealth funds, and tell them that I was investing in the creative economy. But whenever I would mention that, they automatically assumed I was investing in the creator economy, which is frustrating because it's such a small subsection of the creative economy. And outside of that, whenever I would say that I was interested in investing in content, they would automatically assume it was blogs, but that isn't the case either. So for the uninitiated, it could be very frustrating to kind of understand what encompasses the creative economy. And one great resource, I don't know if Laura is here right now, was Upstart Collab. They defined certain industry codes that would fall within this creative economy subset. And for us, with Social Study Ventures, the fund that I run, we look at creativity along with culture as a primary economic element of the creative economy. So that would include fashion, media, music, immersive technologies, culinary arts, and a bunch of others. And from our investment perspective, our investment strategy as well, we also include creative founders within that section. And that second half of your question was key focus areas to better understand and support the creative economy.
The second part was, what are the key areas should we focus to better understand and support the creative economy?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is simple. It's the founders that we need to focus in on, the creative economy founders. After doing some research, what we realized is that 85% of creative startups and creative founders had a better chance of survival over the first year versus 79% of non-creatives. And after 5 years, we determined it was 46% success rate for those creative founders versus just 38%, which is astronomical from a risk management perspective. And I think the conclusion that we found was creatives are generally more adaptable to find that product market fit after a certain amount of time. But unfortunately, 75% still struggle to fundraise. And I think our focus here is finding ways for them to either be mentored or educated or find ways to raise funding alongside someone such as myself or someone as other consultants to find ways to, how do I put it, find funding. I think, sorry. Yeah, I think ultimately it's really just the stigma of being in the creative economy that makes it tough to fundraise.
So all, thank you for the definition of creative economy. So maybe like we have explored and broad field the definition and what's the scope. I kind of want to deep dive into some specific questions. And Mike, as we talk about the market potential and then the investment opportunities, I would like to ask you the question of, like, based on your maybe experiences, the intersection of culture and technology can be seen as the key enabler for across industries. So in this context, how do you view the growing market potential of the creative industries?
So the market potential of creative industries. That's easy. We're very, very bullish on the entire subset of the creative economy. The sectors that we focus in on, consumer, media, technology, they're massive. So the creative economy is, as we've known, is 2.7 trillion in size. And if you look at the overlap with media and entertainment is 2.3 trillion. And another section that we invest in is consumer, and from a broad spectrum of that, we look at 53 trillion in market size. So looking at the overlap and looking at the potential technology evolution and business model evolution, that adds up to about 10.7 trillion in investable opportunities globally and about 1.6 trillion in the US alone. So it's a large market.
So it's actually a huge market that we already don't know. So, and I also wanted to ask you, how is the growth being accelerated by the convergence of technology and culture, and how does it contribute to cross-sector transformation?
Great question. We view culture as a key driver of growth. It allows, we spoke about this a bit earlier, culture allows adoption of new technology. Without culture, technology just sits there. Tastemakers, cultural leaders, lifestyle influencers, we all need them. And we need that human aspect to understand what technology can do for us. Great technology alone is not enough to win the hearts and minds of people. There needs to be some sort of humanity in it. And if we take an example as, let's say, Spotify and Netflix, right? They changed the game when it came to media and entertainment. We find studios struggling to keep up with technology. And it's the reason why Bob Iger considers this era as an era of anxiety. And then we look at, I guess, the business model that became culturally relevant with Spotify and Netflix. Like, who actually knew about subscription models before they came about, right? And I guess marrying culture and technology is just a way to understand the human connection with, like, technology.
So all, thank you for your contributions. As we mentioned the definition and then market potential, Nisa, I would like to ask you more like business and sustainable way about creative economy. So how do you see AI acting the catalyst for transformation across multiple industries, particularly in the creative sector? And how is this driving sustainability and ESG integration?
Yeah, great question. So I'm going to use a word that I started to coin a lot called impact elitism. So within the impact investing space, a lot of people get capital for, being a high growth, high impact investment. Usually they have great environmental, social governance and metrics. And generally what I have been seeing operating across large funds to small startups is that, we have something called like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like if you're a startup, you're literally just trying to keep the lights on, pay your staff, make sure that your shareholders are still cool. And actually, due to, I work across a portfolio within, Madrid to the US to some emerging markets, and the regulation is constantly changing. And you need, finances to hire someone like me in order to do all of the regulatory reporting. Or either you're going to get these scary fines, or you won't ever sit at the table with someone like you who would say, our books are clean, we're in compliance, and actually we have this super exciting investment that's come to light. So I do think, to your point, AI has really democratized access for this. That there are startups that can now come to the table, can put something called ESG integration, where they are embedding environmental, social governance metrics into their portfolio, you are able to put together an impact statement, you're able to create a business plan as a founder. So I do appreciate that AI will highly disrupt jobs, but I do think that a lot of the mundane kind of more segued silos of the industry will kind of fall down. And another speaker mentioned that soft skills will be key. And so I think like what an opportunity to celebrate, you know, more of the fun stuff of being at a job, you know. So I do think it will drive sustainable growth if it's used in a way. I do think the regulation around the way we do this will, you know, create a floodgate on who and how has access to it. But what's so fascinating is we're sitting here, we all can use our phones, we all can use WhatsApp, we are witnessing a flat structure shift. So I am all about AI for good within the sustainability space, because I've just seen different founders and different deal flow come to the table because of this innovation. And great question, thank you.
You're welcome. Actually, you mentioned about WhatsApp and other stuff and tools that we use, but I think could you illustrate how maybe like AI serves as a tool for like more deeply, maybe in sustainable way, to inclusive in creative economy and its potential for future developments? Maybe you just wanted to make some focused information.
Sorry, the last part was and for future
developments.
Yeah, well, I do think that, you know, having worked in emerging markets, I do definitely see the ability to connect. I mean, again, how technology, like we see this within the M-Pesa model. You know, for instance, we went from no phones to mobile banking, and you see this level of like leapfrogging technology. And you do also see this now within, I've used this word, climate leapfrogging, right? Like you are learning from the emerging markets because they have gotten a grasp on tech, and they are teaching kind of the other parts of the markets on how we integrate further. So I do think AI is being hugely disruptive, and it's really like pushed industries forward on the sustainability side and also on access.
So thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And I just wanted to focus some on the technology based on the creative economy. So Mubaro, how can AR technology be utilized to increase access to cultural experiences and heritage, making them more engaging and accessible to the wider audience?
Thank you for your question. I'd like to answer that on the example of our app that we have developed. So basically we use the AR technology. It's the implementation, merging of the real world with the digital one to recreate 3D models and bring 2D images, static images to life. So basically any digital data can be used to place on top of existing real world images, objects, basically everything that exists to recreate it. And it can be used in very different spheres, including culture and education. So if we talk about Uzbekistan, around 36 million people who live there, I think that around 43.2% of them are economically active and use money, our national currency sum, on a daily basis. So basically everybody knows what Uzbek banknotes look like, but not everybody knows what cultural heritage is depicted on them. So I think I'd like to present a video about our application and demonstrate it, how that works. Could you please put the video on that we have prepared? So basically you use your device as a scanner. Everybody who has a smartphone now has access to cultural education on daily objects like money. Everybody uses money. So you can get the 3D image of cultural heritage depicted on it and then see the story behind it, get access to education and history. We feel that it will engage wider audience because everybody has a smartphone now. Everybody has access to this technology, and also younger generations could get education in a more engaging and fun way. So yeah, this was the answer for your first question.
So thank you so much, and it's kind of, it's the engaging and the fun way to maybe like get to know about more historical ways of the countries and then the world. And I also wanted to ask you that, like, we talk about the AR platform. So, how can AR scanning platforms enhance the collaboration across the different industries? And could you share maybe like some videos or other experience, like examples where AR has successfully bridged gaps in the sector or catalyzed the innovation in which that we unexpected way?
Yes, great. Thank you. Augmented reality technology has a lot of possible implementations. For example, for artists, museums, galleries, people could make their exhibitions more engaging. Visitors of galleries and museums will actually remember something after seeing objects and like almost feeling them. So yeah, that would be one of the possible implementations. And other disciplines where this could be used include architecture and real estate. So decision making would be now more effective among clients, architects, contractors, builders. So basically everybody can now see 3D models of future projects displayed on their smartphones, and they can actually see how this building works before it is being built. So yeah, we feel that would enhance decision making and increase collaboration between different various specialists, because now everybody could have a more clear vision and understanding of what is actually going on. So and probably some other implementations could include retail sale. For example, if I have a furniture factory and I would like to bring more customers, potential customers could actually see how this specific furniture would fit into their specific space, or any other art object, everything. So yeah, we feel that would bridge the gap between online shopping and real-world shopping, and just make a more pleasant experience for everyone, users, producers, manufacturers. Yes.
And then maybe we can say that you like make a more effective business flow about this too. Like someone's think about some ideas and then you just show them in a like 3D way.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
so nice. So Beksot, that we came to the last questions. How do you see AI and emerging technologies reshaping the creative industries, such as visual content creation or CGI?
Well, thank you for the question. So let me start first with the common opinion about the AI, that people think that AI is a threat to the creativity. So I want to ask you guys, so how many of you currently using AI like in daily basis? Like the ChatGPT or, okay, so the ChatGPT is something which is already replacing the Google searches, right? Because it's easier to gather the information using the ChatGPT, because it's kind of giving more structure, better structure to your search. And how many of you use the AI for the digital content creation, something like Midjourney, Stable Diffusion? Okay, so you know that these tools are really powerful, right? And a lot of people think that the AI is actually not something good, that eventually it will take over the world, and specifically it strikes at the creative industry because it generates something which the artists spend hours to create. But in my opinion, this is not the replacement, but this is more of an enhancement for the artists. And in today's industry, so like there are a lot of parts, a lot of works in my job where we are doing a lot of repetitive stuff. So, and the AI is taking this job from us, so which gives us more time to do the more creative decision making, to work more on the artistic part of the work. And so from that perspective, I think like if we will use the AI correctly, so it will enhance our capabilities. And like looking at the past, back in the days, we used to have only the 2D animation, right? So the Lion King, the Disney productions, so then DreamWorks. So every major studio was producing the 2D animations. Back at the time, so if you wanted to tell your stories with the animation and you wanted to become an animator, there was a must-have skill required, which was the drawing skill. But over the time, as soon as the 3D animation came out, so this requirement disappeared. So because, so from that time, you don't have to know how to draw to be able to tell your story using the animation. So you can become an animator without knowing how to draw. But did it make the industry easier to create the professional output? I don't think so. Like the 3D animation and the 2D animation are both complicated works, but it kind of widens the gate of entrance to the people who want to work in this industry. I think the AI is the kind of next step of this evolution. So it will make easier for more people to come to the industry of storytelling, where a lot of different people could tell their stories. So we will be able to listen to watch or listen to diverse stories, because now more people will be able to create something with more easier way. However, there is the other side of the coin, which AI gives us, and the other side is that when you have a cheat code, so definitely you're passing the mission really easily, and it does not benefit on your skill at all. So which means like if you will not be paying attention on the fundamentals and the foundations of anything you do while implementing the AI will start driving you. So the key point that so this is our challenge, so to keep AI under control in terms of like a tool, not something, this is kind of really, how can I put that, really enthusiastic intern that needs a guidance. So if you look at that way, so this is a really great tool, but this is not something magical that should drive your creativity. So that way, I think the AI will give a lot of benefits into the development of the creative industry.
Thank you. I would also wanted to ask you about how creative professionals and business effectively adapt to these advancements to maybe enhance their collaboration between technology and the artists, technologists. What are the opportunities? You mentioned some of them, but what are the maybe the main opportunities you can give an advisement? And do you see for the future of this intersection?
Yes, of course. Well, okay, so I could give a lot of examples, but they will be really specific from my career or from the things that I do, and probably it will be really boring for you, but just the generic image generation process is something which gives you, which saves you a lot of time. For example, if I want to create some concept art for the movie, it would take hours for me to gather references and doing my research, and now with the use of AI, it's getting easier for me to gather all the information that I need and to make some concepts really quickly, the prompt-based concepts, which I can use not as a final product, but as a source of inspiration to move on. And also, in the film industry, you usually communicate with the director or the supervisors who are dealing with the creatives. And at that point of view, so you are saving a lot of time while collaborating with them, because when they're telling you their ideas, so you definitely could easily to come up with the certain visual that then will be implemented into the film itself. And speaking of the collaboration of the art and technology, this is also, I think, really crucial and really important thing in general for the development of the creative economy. Because if we look back at the history, there were two legends, so the John Lasseter and Ed Catmull. So anyone know these names? The John Lasseter and Ed Catmull? Only one guy? Okay, so these two legends are the co-founders of a Pixar studio. And Ed Catmull is the co-founder of the CGI, and their collaboration created the field and the job that I love and I work in. So they are defining the current state of the CGI, I would say. So their collaboration on the Pixar defined the new industry standards for the animation, which are still used till today. So it was in the late 80s. So, and Ed Catmull was the technician guy, the genius engineer, and the John Lasseter was the animator and the greatest storyteller. So their collaboration gave us new industry standards. So that's why I think, as you asked, the collaboration of arts and technology will definitely benefit in the development of the creative economy.
So thank you for all, for your insightful contributions. We have so good defined the creative industries in the subsectors about it. So we have seen and also how art can indeed serve as a catalyst to multiple industries. As we wrap up, I may open the floor for questions. If some audience have one or two questions we can get, or not, we can say thank you. Is there any questions that you might want to ask to our speakers? I think we defined everything so well. So thank you again, and if you all have any questions, you can find our speakers at the conference hall. Thank you so much. It was a delightful panel. So nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all, dear participants. Lunch break and DJ set featuring Top Betweens. Xonimlar va janoblar, tushlikka tanaffus e'lon qilinadi hamda sizlar uchun DJ tomonidan maxsus set taqdim etilmoqda.